Greetings, folks, and welcome to Chapter 4. We're going to talk about Section 4-1 today, an introduction to the metric system. That begins on page 170 in the book. Big thing with the metric system, it's all base 10. So I mean, as you go from millimeters to centimeters, there's 10 millimeters in a centimeter. There's 10 centimeters in a decimeter. There's 10 decimeters in a meter. Everything is base 10. It all works around base 10 with that. Whereas the English units, you have 12 inches equal 1 foot, and 3 feet equal 1 yard, and there's 5,280 feet in a mile, and 100 yards in a football field. But anywho, the big thing with the metric system is just as we were moving our decimal point when we worked with percents in the last chapter, in chapter 2, we'll be doing the same thing here with this as you're converting back and forth. The other big thing here too is making sure that you're working with the correct type of units. You're going to work with length. Okay, so you're going to work with length, and that's going to be your meters. Okay, that's going to be your meters with all that. Millimeters, centimeters, kilometers, or kilometers. If you look at on page 171, there's a real good chart, and it's even more specific on. And I don't, you kind of might need that specific some of the times, but on page 172. There's some more information there about how all these things relate to each other with that. Along with the meter, you're also going to talk about volume. How much water is in something, or how much soda pop's in something. When you're working with that, you're going to work with the liter. You see 2-liter bottles of pop and things like that anymore, and so that's the liter that way. The other piece too is going to be mass, weight. When you're working with that, that's going to be a gram. And the nice thing is, it doesn't matter whether you work with meter, liter, or gram. They all have the same prefixes with all that too. You have a millimeter or a milliliter or a milligram. They're all 1,000th of a gram. Some of them you'll hear more than others, but those are kind of the main pieces here that you're going to need to know and have to work with some of those things to be able to convert back and forth. The other thing too is as you're working with this, is you're going to have to try and figure out some reference points as to what makes sense to you that way. For example, they say a paper clip weighs about a gram. Okay. So that's weight is about a gram. In your book, it also tells you that the width of a large paper clip is about a centimeter. A pound is about 2 kilograms. So I mean, there's some different things that you can work with all that too. A liter is a little bit more than a liter is a little bit more than a quart with all that. So those are some pieces too, and your book does a nice job of laying some of those things out too with all that. So now I see in your book here it says a gram is about the weight of 2 paper clips too. I always was told it was 1 paper clip. So they must be cutting back on the amount of product they put in paper clips now. So who knows? But anywho, the other thing too is as you work with some of these things too. Is to get some realistic answers with all that too, and some of the examples it talks about, what you're using here, and does that make sense with that too. But those are kind of the gist of things as far as section 1 goes. It does a lot with changing from one unit to another. Once again, it has that same chart on the top of page 176 you can use. Big thing is, let's say you want have 1,000, let's go 1.2 centimeters. Now I want to know how many meters that is. Okay, so basically to go from centimeters to meters, there's 100 centimeters in a meter, so I got to move my decimal point 2 places over. So there's going to be 0.012 or 1.2 centimeters 0.012 meters. That's kind of how you can work with that. You just got to move your decimal point around. It does a great job of explaining that on pages 176 and 177 with that too. So the other piece that it's going to look at too is a practical application. You know, how much does something weigh? For example, weight of a bag of dog food. Is it going to be 25 grams, 25 kilograms, 25 decagrams, or 25 milligrams? Well, it's going to be about 25 kilograms. It's going to be about 50 pounds when you do some of those things too. So as you want to take a look at some of these and practice some of these things, it's on page 181. I believe it's questions 1 through 99. You know, do what you need to with that. I mean, some of them are going to make an awful lot of sense right away. So no need to be redundant and keep repeating things if you already know how it's all working too with all that. So, but that's section 4.1 metric. We're going to talk about other measurements here in section 4.2, time and temperature and other measures. But that's it for now. So we will talk to you later.